Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo. It was a thriller at the Shack last night. Full recap of the Bison victory over South Dakota State. Plus, we get round 2 on Saturday with the ladies. Jory Collins will preview NDSU's matchup with South Dakota State. Hot Mic starts now.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo. Dom Izzo.
Good Thursday morning. Welcome to that was fun edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra. KSFL TV, good morning everybody in Sioux Falls, KNBN in western South Dakota, and all parts in between at Inforum.com. Happy Thursday. It is the 15th of January, 2026. Ready to rock and roll here on a busy day today. Just a couple days out from a monster football weekend. We got the divisional round creeping up on Saturday and Sunday. Of course, college football's national championship still hanging out there. That title game on Monday to take place in Miami between the Hurricanes and Indiana. I'll save this probably for tomorrow's show, just because I've hammered this over the last little bit. We're waiting too long. I don't want the college football game to get out of people's minds, and I feel like it's been such a long time that the NFL's dominating as it always does, and we got people getting hired, and sounds like the Giants have got a new coach. We got to fix that, because the momentum of what the playoff is, you got to keep playing. Like the FCS, we play we play 4 straight weeks. We have the first round, second round, the quarterfinals, semifinals. We're playing 4 straight weeks, right? There's no breaks there. It's every 7 days. And then there's 2 weeks off, and then we play the championship. That's what the big boy division needs. We got to be playing every single week. You get a little break and then play the title. It's way too – like the end of the regular season was It was Thanksgiving weekend, okay? Then we had conference championship game weekend, the first weekend of December. Then they had 10 to 15 days off. We played the first round. Then we had another 10 days off, and then we had the quarterfinals. Then we had another 8 days off, and then we had the semi. You know what I mean? Like, it's just – and they're working around the NFL. I get it. But, man, we're losing some momentum there. I'll save that for tomorrow because it bugs the you-know-what out of me. Lots to get to today, including we'll get you ready for the Bison Jackrabbits women's basketball showdown coming up on Saturday afternoon. North Dakota State trying to end an 11-year losing streak to the Jackrabbits. We'll preview that later in the show. But we got to start with the game last night on the north side of town. And if you watched it here on Extra, hopefully it came through the television of the energy in the building. It was hopping last night with unbeaten North Dakota State welcoming in South Dakota State. The Jackrabbits had won in Fargo each of the last 2 years. They had not won in Fargo 3 straight years in 35 years. Bison were shooting lights out to start. Markai Strickland fadeaway after the Jackrabbits went on a 9-0 run. The Bison responded with a 13-0 run in kind. Amari Wheeler-Thomas pull up in the mid-range jumper. Trayson Anderson was really good again last night. Bison build eventually here an 11-point lead as the Jacks call timeout after that Trayson Anderson finish. Boy, he was great last night. Bison up 12 at the break. Second half, Damari Wheeler-Thomas cans a 3. Bison, again, put the Jacks at arm's length, right? They're holding off up by 12. Anderson was great in the second half. He had 4 threes, cans that one. Andy Stefano went over from the same spot. Bison were up 16. All right, there's going to be a laugher, right? Well, here come the Jacks. Jaden Jackson drives and scores. Cuts it to 10. It's a 13-point lead when Jackson hits another 3. All right, now everybody's up at attention. It's within single digits. Now it's down to 9. Anderson hits a huge triple there to kind of stem the tide, push it back to a 9-point lead. Markai Strickland is always good for one of those. Another game of double figures. Okay, so the Bison push it back to 13. SDSU says, nope, we're not done. Matthew Moores hits a triple there. Okay, now it's down to 8. Next possession, Moores hits another. Now it's a 5-point game. Everybody at attention with under 5 minutes to go. Play of the game here. Strickland gets it to Anderson. Makes sure he stays in bounds. Hits his 4th 3 of the half. Take a look at that. His heel barely in bounds. Drills the triple. North Dakota State back in front by 8. They get a stop. Wheeler Thomas, next possession down. Just like that, the lead's back to 11 after the Jacks had got it to 5. The place was rocking after Damari hit that shot. One for good measure. Travion Carson hit this one just as the dagger. North Dakota State holds off South Dakota State 76-65. The first home win for the Bison against the Jacks since 2023. A crowd of 3,313 in attendance last night as the Bison are now 5-0 in Summit League play. They get their 15th win of the season behind the sensational Trayson Anderson, his 3rd straight 20-point game. Afterwards, some excited players talk about an emotional win last night.
I just continue to go up, and my teammates having my back when some doesn't go well. It's just a great feeling to have.
It's definitely been a big difference. The bigs on the other team got to guard them. You know what I mean? They can't just let them shoot the threes. So it makes a difference for us offensively and opens things up for us.
How much of the home crowd will you play into that tonight, Trace? How much does that feed you guys tonight?
It fed us a lot, Every time we scored, got to stop. We just kept going, wanting to go harder.
What am I going to tell them? Same thing I've told them a million times. And I think we pride ourselves in being tough together. So I don't love timeouts. The other thing is I'd use one earlier in the first half. And, it's South Dakota State. I anticipated it maybe going down to the wire, a couple more possessions, and so wanted to save it. But that was obviously a big play there. And Andy, when he got fouled late, went to the free throw line, made those free throws, I thought that was big as well. You and I talked about it, pregame. You and I talked about it Tuesday morning. Jeff and I talked about it, and, when he interviewed Trayson on Monday, we got a great facility. We got a great product going on the court. Students are back in town. This is it, and this is college football is pretty much over. It's basketball time. It's a wonderful time of year. Jory's ladies are doing great things. Take advantage of this opportunity right now to enjoy and appreciate and celebrate and yell and scream at some great basketball.
It's right out about that. Here are the up-to-date standings in the Summit League now after what happened last night. So North Dakota State at 5-0 with now a game-and-a-half lead on St. Thomas. The Tommies will play tonight at Grand Forks. That's a rather large game now in the standings with UND sitting there at 3-1. The Jacks at 2-2. But mind you, South Dakota State has lost now in Grand Forks and Fargo. UND and NDSU still have to go to Brookings. Denver won last night with a win over Oral Roberts. Golden Eagles have not won a road game in 2.5 years. That is a tough way to go right now for ORU. So Denver gets to 2-3, and the rest of the league playing tonight. South Dakota at 1-2, Omaha 1-3, Kansas City at 1-3, and the Golden Eagles we mentioned losing last night at 0-4. I want to hop off of what the last comments that Dave was talking about there because I asked him about the crowd last night, feeding off of that. Certainly it seemed like the players did, and the energy was palpable. The students were basically out the door at 5:45. That's when I got to the arena last night. They were giving away basketball jerseys for the first 400 students to the game. There's plenty of football players that were there as well. I ran into a few of them, Nathan Hayes, Trey Drake, Elijah Wayne, Hudson Arts, you name it. I was running into a bunch of them that were ready to get a jersey last night. And whatever it takes to get the students there, that was palpable. That was excellent. And the question I tweeted out actually during the game, was during a TV timeout, was the crowd is into it. It's loud. It's fun. And I simply said, why can't this be the case all the time? So that leads to our poll question today. It's up now at Hot Mike WDAY on our Twitter page. And here it is. Pretty simple. Why don't you go to the games? Is it too expensive? Is it too cold outside? Are you not interested? I'm dying to know. Why don't you go to Bison Hoops? Vote now. Or, hey, post away. Give me some. If it's not that, what is it? Because I'm dying to know what be the reasoning for why you would not go. And we'll unpack that. I want to do that a little bit more when Sam joins us at 10. And because we've done this topic, but I don't know if we've done it enough to dig down in it to say what's up. You know, we've talked about the seating at the Shack, and there's nothing that can do about that. I'm not a huge fan of it. I know there's people that have certainly voiced their opinion to me about that over the last 6 years of doing this program. But the product goes without saying. I mean, people like winners. Dave's team is 15-5. Jory's team's won 13 games in a row. So you got to give me something now, right? We'll spend some more time on that later on in the program. But a big win last night. Now, rest day today. Not much time to enjoy it. They have one extra day, though, because they played Wednesday. St. Thomas plays tonight in Grand Forks. And, of course, the Tommies are going to be here on Saturday. Johnny Tower, head coach at St. Thomas, is going to join our program in this time slot tomorrow morning. Be a heck of a way to start the show to get us ready for the Bison and St. Thomas. As you wake up this morning, though, North Dakota State has moved up to 136 in the net rankings. Just something to pay attention to now as we get to the second half of league play. A couple other games last night. I got an email about this about a week and a half ago. Hey, you're not paying enough attention to what's going on with the Concordia Cobbers, especially the women's team. Well, last night they were at home because the MIAC always plays on Wednesdays. I got to tip the cap on that because they've cornered the market on that. They were hosting Gustavus last night. Cobbers have got a team here. We saw them play the Bison women back in early November. Maya Metcalf's a really good player. Molly Musland, really good player from Lemoore. They've got some pieces all around. They came back in this game against Gustavus where they were out of it. Kaya Gack here with 5 seconds to go. That game-winning shot. They trailed by as many as 15. They came back and won the game last night, 70-66. Look at that record now, 12-2 overall, 6-1 in the MIAC. They are ranked in the Division III top 25 poll. They've won 8 of their last 9. They're humming right now. Kim Wagers, head coach of Concordia, will join us on the program tomorrow. Chat about that win. I mean, they're firing all cylinders right now. It's a good win from Eric Peterson's game story last night. Heading into Wednesday's games, there were 7 MIAC teams with either 1 or 2 losses in conference play. The league is really good this year. So that's a solid win for Concordia. We'll visit more about the Cobs coming up on the show tomorrow. But 12-2 and 6-1 in the MIAC. Nothing to shake a stick at here. Now, as we're in the middle part of January, right? This is when your team, you figure out you're pretty good or not. And it sounds like we've got some pretty good basketball going on here in the Metro this year. Last thing before we wrap up our opening segment, we mentioned Minnesota Gophers have had quite the week, both on the men's and the women's side. Men absolutely got their hearts ripped out with a loss to Wisconsin on Tuesday night. The women played a heck of a game in beating USC. Now they had UCLA coming into Williams Arena last night. UCLA, if you don't follow the women's game, is the 3rd-ranked team in the country. They made the Final Four last year. This is a legit outfit. So it's going to be an uphill battle for Dawn Plitzoweitz's team. Mara Braun hitting that one basically from St. Cloud. Deep 3 to get the Gophers within 8. It's a 9-point lead late in the first quarter. Amaya Battle, pull-up. I mean, they got pieces all around to the Gophers. Pulls the Minnesota within 7. Now we go to the second half. It's a 14-point UCLA lead. Braun, she can create her own shot. It's great to see her out there healthy. Mara Braun is the best player, high school-wise, state of Minnesota seen in a long time. She's been beset by injuries over the last 3 years. There's Battle driving and scoring, cuts it to a 12-point lead. But UCLA puts the hammer down in the fourth quarter. That's Lauren Betts. If you don't know her, you will as the season goes along. She had 17 points, 10 rebounds. That's a deep three there from Kiki Rice, who had 25, 8 of 9 from the field, 3 of 3 from three-point range. Bruins win it 76-58. UCLA is now 16-1 on the year. Gophers fall to 12-5 on the season and 3-3 in Big Ten play. So there's teams to pay attention to. We're going to feature this on What to Watch coming up later on in the show. Texas, really good. Texas played South Dakota State in Brookings and handled the Jackrabbits. South Carolina is on a revenge tour this year with Dawn Staley's team after losing to Connecticut. Connecticut is number 1 in the country, and then this team, UCLA. Those are the 4 to 5 teams you can maybe peg for the Final Four when we get to early April. Those are the ones that to be paying attention to. Off of that, one other note yesterday out of the basketball world, college basketball world, as the NCAA convention is wrapping up, we got portal window news to chat about because, again, we're going to change things for when the portal window will open, this time in basketball. Yesterday, the NCAA Division I cabinet signed off on shortening and moving the portal windows in men's and women's basketball to the day after the NCAA championship games. It'll be a 15-day window, down from 30, which it has been each of the last couple years. You'll remember last March we went through this, and there were people up in arms that the portal window opened right during the NCAA basketball tournament. And you had players moving, and I'm sure there were some upset about that. Frankly, we went through this in football. But now the portal window will open on the men's side April 7th through the 21st because the title game is on April 6th in Indianapolis. The women will open April the 6th, that Monday, and go to April the 20th. I will tell you right now, that's not going to dissuade you from seeing people announcing they're going in the portal as soon as their season is done, right? So when we get to March and teams start losing, you're going to see a wave of players saying, I'm, heading in the portal. Come April 7th, I'll be there. And here's the intriguing part. How many are going to show up in there? And for those that follow this, they'll know what I'm talking about with the do not contact tag next to their name. If you see that, that means player already knows where they're going. And how do they know where they're going? Because they've been talking to another school, which is tampering, which you can't do. Nobody knows how to enforce it, but that's what's happening. So to look forward to that April, the last couple of years, at least for this program, has been wild because we've had football and basketball happen at the same time because we had a late football window. Obviously, we don't have that in football anymore, at least for now, but we will in basketball. So buckle up once the season gets done because there's going to be movement once again. We got a packed show coming up for you here today on this Thursday. Our guest lineup is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Hunter Pinke's back with us this morning at 9:35. We had his old coach, Danny Freund, yesterday on the program. We'll talk to Hunter about Freund coming back to take over OC calling duties at UND. That's coming up at 9:35. At 10 o'clock, Sam Goetzinger will join us. Sam, of course, on the sidelines last night. Give us his thoughts on the Bison Jackrabbit game and look ahead to a big basketball weekend. That's coming up at 10 o'clock. And at 10:35, Jory Collins will join us, North Dakota State women's basketball head coach. Bison at the Jacks. NDSU has the mini bye this week. They don't play tonight. Their next game is Saturday afternoon in Brookings, South Dakota, against a Jackrabbit team that has not lost to a Summit League team in the regular season in 67 6 games. They have not lost to the Bison since 2015. Those are long, long streaks, folks. We'll see what Jory has to say about matching up with SDSU. That's coming up at 10:35. That and a heck of a lot more here on a busy Thursday morning. We're just getting started. Hot Mike returns after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KNBN, and Inforum.com. Welcome back, everybody. Don't forget, we got high school hoops here tonight. We got college basketball out of the way last night, so we've got our game of the week back tonight. Little Class A doubleheader. Wahpeton and Kindred coming up tonight here on WDAY Extra. Coverage begins at 6 o'clock with the girls' game, the boys' game to follow at 7:30. Wahpeton and Kindred coming up tonight here on WDAY Extra, part of a busy high school week. We had 3 games on Tuesday. We got 2 tonight. We got more on Friday with Horace and Davies. So, yeah, we're in the thick of it here with the winter sports season. That's coming up tonight. More on that. We'll have our graphic coming up later on in the show. All right, couple things. We got a bunch of responses coming in, which is fantastic, on our poll question today, which is pretty simple. Why don't you go to Bison basketball games? We'll get. I'll save some time at the end of the program to get all of them in because it's good stuff so far, ranging everything from some of the usual topics I've heard, whether the seating at the Shack is too tight. I heard a new one today. There's no North Dakota players on the team, which is odd. Don't necessarily think that's a mandated thing there. The players are really good that are on the team. I don't know if it matters where they're from. Maybe it does to some, but we'll dive into that coming up later on in the show. We have a day left in the football portal window. It officially closes tomorrow, 11:59 tomorrow night at Dunzo. If your name's not in there, then you are locked in. Doesn't mean you have to announce where you're going by tomorrow, but you got to get your name in there if you're looking to go somewhere else. There was some movement yesterday here on the local front. Guy that we've had on our program a couple times over was an outstanding high school player at Shanley High School, led the Deacons to a state championship in 2022. Michael Rosberg, quarterback for Shanley, who after that state championship season signed to play at the University of St. Thomas. He spent the last 3 years in St. Paul. Rosberg announced yesterday that he's coming back home. He's going to be transferring to MSUM, and he'll be playing with the Dragons starting this fall. He spent, as I mentioned, the last 3 years with the Tom. He's got a little bit of run at St. Thomas with Glenn Caruso's team. We did not see him play in the finale. The Bison, played St. Thomas to wrap up the regular season in 2025. He'll come here with potentially 3 seasons of eligibility. We'll see. He redshirted in 23 and then has played the last 2 years, 24 and 25. 6'4", 210 pounds. He played 7 games for St. Thomas in 2024. Completed 24 of 50 passes, 234 yards, and 2 touchdowns, had 5 interceptions. He was dynamic for Shanley. You're seeing his highlights here. He's going to join us tomorrow on the show to go to a program that obviously, and we talked about this, we had Madden Thorson on the program last week, that will throw the football. He knows that. Lockway is no stranger to quarterbacks who want to heave it all over the yard. And Rosberg certainly can do that. He did that for Troy Mattern's team to some pretty good effect, as you saw, and leading Shanley to a state championship over Bismarck Century in the Dakota Bowl in 2022. He spoke with Eric Peterson about this, really wanted to come back home and be in this community. And he's going to be in a fight here because the Dragons are going to have quite a bit of quarterbacks on the roster. Timmy Guler from Pelican Rapids is there. You've got Peyton Wallen, who is signed. We had Peyton on the show from Texas. That is going to be early enrolling, and he'll be part of Dragon spring practice when it gets going in a couple months. So that's an intriguing name to watch. They've got guys there. That's honestly, there were times in that football program that they had no options at quarterback. And I mean, all they had were bad options. And Lockway would tell you that. That is not the case now. After you have a guy like Jack Strand come through, to set every record imaginable and get sniffed around for NFL draft conversation, that changes perceptions of a program. NDSU has gone through this obviously 5 times over with guys that have come through there, that you're able to attract better players at that position. Certainly now MSUM is on the radar of high school quarterbacks, transfer quarterbacks around the country with A, the offense they run, and B, the success that the quarterbacks have had playing here. And Strand certainly took that to the nth degree over the last 4 years of what he's done at MSUM. So Rossberg will be heading back into the area, a guy that was a really, really good player in his time at Shanley High School. And obviously things don't work out. That happens more often than we think. And he'll get a chance now to play here at MSUM. He'll be in a battle, there's no doubt, as we mentioned, with 5 other guys who are going to have opportunities to potentially play, but he'll be back in the area. He'll join us, as I mentioned, on the show tomorrow to discuss that. So that's the latest there. I can't say that it's over and done with. I think we'll still have some more names that are going to go to other places, but in terms of players heading in, I think if you're UND, if you're South Dakota State, if you're USD, and USD's been adding guys here over the last little bit, and obviously if you're NDSU, I think you can probably take a deep breath and say, okay, we made it through. And for the guys and the teams that say, okay, this is what we lost, I don't think that's the end of the world. NDSU lost 7 guys, 7 starters. Those are all impact guys. Hard to just flinch at that and say, we're going to be okay. But that's probably the first time that the amount for football. We've seen it happen in basketball, certainly. Football, first time. Jackrabbits went through it with the departure of their head coach. They lost a couple guys. USD certainly lost some heavy hitters there. And UND did too. Unfortunately, that is Illinois State did. They made it all the way to the championship game. That's day and age we live in now. Now it's about what do they add and how do they move forward. Be fascinating to see that now as spring ball comes into focus and we get ready to look ahead to 2026. We'll break. We come back. Hunter Pinke will join the program. We'll chat some UND ball with him and what he has been up to. He's been all over the place, certainly all over North Dakota. That's coming up when Hot Mike returns after this. Welcome back, everybody. Thursday show off and rolling. Bison women's basketball coach Jory Collins will join us about an hour to chat about the matchup with NDSU and South Dakota State. We have not had a chance to catch up with our guy Hunter Pinke in a couple weeks. He has been a busy man traveling all around the state of both South Dakota and North Dakota and chat some UND football as well. One of his old coaches is going to be back in Grand Forks. He joins us here this morning. His appearances are brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. It's great to see you, bud. You were just listing off the places you were speaking at. Give us some background on this. You've done this for a little bit in terms of going out and speaking in high schools and how that got started.
Yeah, that's really how I got started speaking, Dom, was I went to Stephen Argyle. It would have been the fall of 2020, so not even a year after my skiing accident. And that was the first school that I spoke at. They'd done a fundraiser called Pinke Promises, which is pretty cute.
Yeah.
And they wanted to put a face with a name. And so I went and just kind of told them my story a little bit. And I thought that was a one-time thing. And then that winter, Dakota Prairie, they asked me to come and speak because one of their speakers had canceled because of a blizzard. So I went and spoke at that school, and that led to another school and another school and another. And so now every year I take out 2 weeks out of my year and just get around the upper Midwest to the schools because that's where it started.
So give us the lowdown where you've been over the last 2 weeks.
Last 2 weeks, let's see here. For the speaking tour this year, we were in Sioux Falls. So went down to O'Gorman and spoke with them down there, and then went to Minot, Kindred, Drayton, and finished up right in Fargo-Moorhead at Oak Grove. So it was a good week.
And how much has what you're talking about evolved from that first time doing it at Stephen Argyle to what you were just doing last week?
Well, I think I've gotten a lot better. Hopefully, I can connect better and tell a better story and a clearer message. But Stephen Argyle, I was just telling my story. I just kind of told him where I had come from, where I was at now, where I was planning on going. Dakota Prairie, that was the first one where I really tried to like deliver a message. And I got called the night before I was supposed to speak, right? Because that speaker had canceled. And so that night I just jotted down some notes. And at the top of those notes, I'm gonna have to go back and find that notebook because I still have it in my office. But at the top of that page, I wrote "No bad days," and that message has not changed. Obviously, the delivery, probably some of the supporting points, but the "No bad days" message has remained the same. Summarized, it really comes down to every day going forward was one that could have been taken away, and so I'm just going to make a choice to find the good in every day.
How much do you see that resonate, especially with high school kids, that they're paying attention and listening to what you're talking about?
It resonates. The first time I ever delivered a message, I had a kid in the front row, good-looking kid, prom king, quarterback of the football team, probably pretty popular, and he came up to me after and he said, "Hey, can I come talk to you in the corner of the gym?" We went to the corner of the gym and just started bawling.
Wow.
And, told me his heart, some of the things he was dealing with. And I remember thinking to myself, Dom, like, if that kid is going through some stuff internally, it looks like he's perfect on the outside. Man, what about the kid up in the corner that really is unseen? And it resonates with kids. After the Minot session, I actually had a parent say, "Hey, this is crazy, but could you come and stop by this person's house? His son is going through some drug stuff, wants to change his life, rehab this." You touched the parent so much, I think you'd really touch the son. I got to stop at that kid's house and talk with them for almost an hour. Those are the conversations that are meaningful, that you feel like hopefully you're helping.
What did that mean to you as well, having that stop to a house and do that?
Yeah, I take it with well, it's pretty cool because I'm from North Dakota, and so I feel a lot of pride, not only in the state, but the people that make the state. And, those are my neighbors. They're the people that helped me when I needed help. So it's a privilege to get to be in that position.
There's no easy segue out of that, so I'm going to try my best on this. So I'm interested. I've been hammering on this topic over the last little bit, and I want interested your thoughts as a former player on how to fix the football calendar. And let me throw this at you as a former player, because this is my harebrained idea. It's not my own, but I like it, and I'm adopting it, to move spring football out of spring and actually go the model of what the NFL does, that you have OTAs and mini camp in June, early July, break, and then you start the football season. The portal moves to the end of April, the end of the school year, so you can figure out what team you got. Then you practice, and then take a little time off, and then we go. How would you feel about doing that?
It's not a bad idea, Dom, because really we're going to a pro model anyway.
Right.
So might as well just, model exactly what they're doing. I think that's a decent idea. You talk about the bowl games too, of like, let's move the bowl games to the beginning of the year and kind of like a marquee weekend. I like that idea. I think that came from Joel Klott or somebody over at Fox, but I like the idea of, maybe extending it into January and February. That's not a bad idea. The one thing that I don't like with that is you really take away a bulk of the basketball season. Like right now, college basketball is on full display. And especially in Fargo, I saw you tweet the other night, like, man, the Shack should be rocking in January and February. Like I was at the BSA when Ben Woodside and Wink and all those guys and Nelson, like those were fun atmospheres. And I grew up watching Bison basketball and going and Woody, going and beating up on Jory Collins. Let's just be real. and so that's the one thing where, like, is college football just going to be the only focus? Because I think basketball has its place in January and February, and then obviously getting into March. So I like the idea in the sense that it makes a lot of sense for football. I'm just not sure it makes sense as a complete athletic department.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do. They can't keep it the way it is. I'll just say that
You're
because
right.
it's not
I tell
good
you
right
what,
now.
Dom, if anyone's got some time this morning wanting to go and dig into the schedule, man, Joey McGuire and Dan Lanning had a pretty good hold on it. If you go watch that press conference leading up to what was the quarterfinal game, both of them kind of get into it. Move it up a week. The playoffs should be just like the FCS playoffs and go week after week, home games, and have the national championship on January 1st. That can be done. And so if they want to keep this kind of the same model but actually do it right, I think they got a good plan.
All right, so Danny Freund, I know, means a lot to you. Tell me about when you heard the news he was going to come back and be offensive coordinator in North Dakota.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you're ever going to find a better fit for this time and the situation. A guy that had been there for over a decade with tons of experience that recruited a lot of the players that are on the team.
Yes.
I mean, that's the thing is like people forget he was the one that recruited Jerry Kaminsky.
Yep.
He was, and Jerry committed to Danny's offense out of high school. And so like the fit, I don't know if it's going to be much better. And here's the thing that I like with bringing Freund back. His offenses, if you look at the statistics, were extremely efficient. They took care of the ball. They were good on third down. Tommy Schuster is one of the best quarterbacks in UND history. Completion percentage super high. I think the complaint was, we're not aggressive enough. We're not taking enough deep shots. If you look at his past 2 years, they take some shots. They're aggressive. Go look at Washington State's last game in their bowl game.
Yep.
And so I think, as with anybody, over time and with experience, you grow. And man, look at Eric Schmidt's defense. His defense this year looked a lot different than it did back in 2018 and 2019. And so it's not going to be the same offense as we saw in his previous stint. There's going to be obviously a lot of things that look the same, but there's going to be different wrinkles, and he's gotten better as a coach. So I'm excited. I'm glad that he left, and I think it's always good to go and experience new places and learn from new coaches. But I think it's going to be a good fit back. And boy, I'm excited because the trend and the direction of the program seems to be in the right.
I'm interested. Learning his offense, was that complicated for you? Like, for the guys, like what was that like to get in and look at the playbook that he was running?
It was easy because we had come from a really pro-style, very wordy offense with Paul Rudolph.
Yeah.
And I remember one of our plays had like almost 16 words in it. You muscle trump, black bear, this, that, X tag, that. And then Coach Freund simplified it. A lot of shorter, we call them fastballs, where you say one word and you know the play, the formation, we're going with tempo and that kind of stuff. So it was actually easier coming from a pro style going into more of the spread and tempo.
I was asking him yesterday about the late kickoffs because Washington State has it all the time, just in position where they are on the West Coast. You played when UND was in the Big Sky. What was that like? I can't. The Bison did it a couple of years ago, and I'm not playing. I'm covering the game. I didn't like it waiting around till 8, 9 o'clock at night. What was that like as a player when you're in California and kickoff isn't until 8 o'clock Central Time?
Terrible as a player.
Yeah.
A 1 p.m. kickoff is about perfect as a player. And honestly, as a fan, too, I think 1 p.m. is great. You get like a 7 p.m. Pacific time kickoff, and you wouldn't get done Pacific time until, the 10 o'clock hour.
Yep.
You wouldn't get on the plane until midnight. And then you fly back. I remember we get into Grand Forks just as the sun was
coming up, right?
5:36 a.m. So, yeah, you'd sleep until 2 p.m. on that Sunday, and then you'd have meetings starting around 3, 4 o'clock. A lift for the freshmen around 5 o'clock. I mean, it was brutal. So, yeah, can we just all agree that Pacific time games should not start any later than 5 p.m.
Well, I hate to tell you that it's television rule. We rule everything and we ruin everything. Is pretty much how it works on that. So I don't. Those are unfortunately are going anywhere anytime soon. I can tell you.
I will say as a fan, Pac-12 After Dark was fun. So maybe with the new Pac-12, they'll bring it back.
Last thing before I let you go, off the FCS championship game, to see Montana State, Illinois State play the way they did, does that, I don't know, open up's the right word. Are we still in that mindset that there's 5-6 teams that can win this thing as we go to 2026 now in your mind?
I think Illinois State opened some eyes because at the beginning of the playoffs, if you would have said, all right, give me your top 6 teams that could win this thing, was Illinois State in that? They just got smacked by Southern Illinois at the end of the season. And so I would not have put that. I will say, though, I really just don't see any team outside of the Missouri Valley or the Big Sky winning an FCS championship. It used to be the CAA, right? You'd have James Madison and Delaware and some of those teams out there, and you'd have Jacksonville State in this down south and Sam Houston. All those teams are gone. And so I really don't see anyone outside of the 2 perennial conferences winning it. That being said, the depth of those conferences has shown to be substantial. So I think it opens up the door for UND to say, hey, if Illinois State can go and be really a play away from winning a national championship, why can't we?
Indiana or Miami Monday night? Who you got?
I got Indiana. Oh, man, it's a buzzsaw. That's man, you're going into their home stadium, and boy, just another thing for Signetti to use to light some more fire. So I think they get it done.
It's great to see you, man. Thanks so much for the time. Be well. We'll chat soon, all right?
All right, have a great weekend. See you, Dom.
There he goes, Hunter Pinke joining us on every Thursday at 9:30. His appearances are brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. Good stuff there. All right, we'll break. We got a bunch of comments coming in on our poll question. We'll dive into some now. I don't want to wait till the end of the show because it's pretty good. We'll do that. Other side of the break. We're back after this. All right, I had the dreaded ate the snack too close to coming back from commercial break. All right, welcome back, everybody. 6 years, I think I get better at knowing when to do that. All right, here we go. Poll question was earlier. Pretty simple. Why do you not go to Bison basketball games? We already got a bunch of responses coming in. I thought this was a well-crafted email. Dom, what is the attendance at these games? How does that compare to the rest of the league? An extremely quick look at a few games. Bison Jacks had 3,300 there. UND and South Dakota State had a little over 1,900 a couple weeks ago. Bison Oral Roberts on that Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, 1,700 were at that. UND Oral Roberts, 1,500. Looked at a few others. Seems like expectations need to be adjusted according to the rest of the league to me. That's a fair point because normally NDSU is near the top. But my point is, it's not that way. It was half of that for Oral Roberts on a Saturday. And I will point back to the old BSA. This time of year, when we got to mid-January on a Saturday night, and I think there's timing of this too, is part of this, was packed. It was packed. It didn't matter who was there. It was Fort Wayne. If it was IUPUI in the old days, Kansas City, that you could book it on a Saturday night, 7 o'clock, BSA, it's going to be to the rafters. Some of those teams weren't all that great, and still the crowd was pretty good. Now, I will point out, too, when they shut down the BSA in 2014 for the renovation and moved to Shields Arena, that opened up things, I think, to a different crowd on the south side of town, that it was a lot closer for them to go to games. I think they like going to games. That was a new audience that was awoken to Bison basketball that was able to get there. But that was a short-term deal, right? It was going to be 2 years, and they're going back to the Shack. Now, here's a variety of responses we got. Dom, I live an hour away. Seating is tight. There's no North Dakota players. We chatted about that one earlier in the show. We have young kids. 7 p.m. start is a little too late for them. 6 or maybe 6:30 might work better. Here's another one. 4-hour drive makes it tough during the winter season because a little more planning needs to go into it compared to football season. Here's another one. On people complaining about seats in the Shack, they're looking for excuses. The Shack is a beautiful place to watch a game. Apparently only those of us who sat at the old BSA appreciate it. My best friend and I are both 6'3" and have never had a problem with the seats. That's one that I've heard repeatedly. And I'll admit, I mean, it's a tight squeeze if you're a taller individual. I think that's a fair complaint to have. Another one I got is the games are on TV. I don't even know what to say to that. Games have been on TV for a long time. The games were on TV at the BSA. Maybe not as frequently as they are now. Like we televise every home game. Almost every road game is either televised or streaming outside of the Bermuda Triangle that the Bison played in for a couple games this year, specifically the women who've had 3 games that were not televised this year. That one I don't get. That used to be the case like 20 years ago. That, well, I'm not going to go because the game's on TV. Well, what? Now, if you want to tell me too expensive, I would say, all right, well, how much you spend in a game? That, to me, holds a little bit of weight, but it's not football. To me, that one doesn't. I'm not going to give that a whole lot of attention on that, but I'm intrigued to see what it is Saturday. Right, South Dakota State carries with it its SDSU, and I got one other email on that. You know, it was a Wednesday night, and they were playing the Jacks, and the Bison are good. Okay, so now let's take one of those things over to Saturday. The Bison are good, and they're playing the best team in the league coming in on Saturday in St. Thomas. St. Thomas doesn't have the cachet of SDSU, but it's a Saturday at 1 o'clock. What else are we doing? Now, I would argue, I think they should do at least 2 to 3 Saturday night games in conference play during the year. I do believe that. I think they got some feedback and they thought 1 o'clock is better for some than 7. I would argue, frankly, I think Saturday night is probably maybe easier to get to than Saturday. You got a bunch of youth activities going on. That would be my deal. We'll see. All right, we're overdue for a break. We'll get caught up here. Our guy Sam Goetzinger coming in. We'll ask Sam about his thoughts on this. He's been covering Bison Hoops for a little bit. Get his thoughts on the game last night and a couple other topics as we start hour 2 on this Thursday morning. Hot Mike is back after this.
This is Hot Mike. Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Let's take a moment and talk about bunions. The original line read as this: Bunions. You may have heard of them. That was my original line.
Hey, thank you, Dom. Johnny Cool Guys there with the sunglasses on.
That was off the dome.
To the west of
when
Illinois.
I'm looking on it, like west. I shouldn't say right and left. Is that Missouri?
That is Missouri.
Yes.
That is
it's underneath
Missouri.
Iowa.
Way to go.
Oh, I'm getting good at this.
He's coming.
So we're going to like the bottom peninsula region.
Peninsula?
Okay, we're going to come back on the ETSU tailgate and then go to you. How am I going to go from a tailgate to bunions?
Okay, good deal.
Let's take a moment and talk about bunions.
Here he is emerging from the Bison student section last night. You were right there, huh?
They need to work on their listening skills a little bit. I will say that.
Tell everybody what you discussed with them.
You and I, before the game, we were talking, okay, these jerseys look pretty cool. Should we try to showcase them a little bit at some point? Yeah, let's do that. So I go over right before we're about to do our little pregame hit. I talk to the front couple rows of students. I'm like, hey, I'm about to go on and do my pregame spiel. I'm going to say whatever. At one point, when I step away from the camera, can you cheer? Oh, yeah, definitely. We can do that. It gets to the point. I told them we're 2 minutes away. And then, okay. I step away from the camera when it gets to that point, and I hear crickets behind me. And I'm rattled at that point. I was expecting to try to adjust for some volume change, and I got nothing. So I'm trying to power through it, and there's nothing happening. I almost stopped. It took everything in me to just stop and look and turn. Like, what's going on here, guys?
That would have been awesome, actually, if you stopped, pivoted like, hello?
I was about to, but I didn't want to ruin the flow of things. And then after it was all said and done, I'm starting to walk away, and they stopped me. Like, oh, did we miss it? I was like, yeah, you missed it. What are you talking about? The red light was on and everything. And they're like, oh, God, we want to do it again. And I was like, well, we'll do it again later. So at halftime, they reminded me, hey, can we get another crack at it? So I was like, okay, I'll turn around. And I don't know how it was at halftime. But
it was better than the
was it
pregame.
better? I sat there. I was in the middle of it. It was like, oh, man, it's so quiet behind me. What's going on? But it was good. They were good. I'm glad they showed up. It was a fun environment.
That was great. I'm trying to solve ticket issues.
How's that working?
Issues. It's all right.
You bringing a couple people in for Saturday?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see what that's going to be. We got a wide net here, which I want to get to in a second. Let's chat about the game last night. Trayson Anderson
really good.
has been a dude since coming into the starting lineup, man. He was great
Moving him
last
into
night.
the starting lineup was a correct decision. You can kind of get that feeling that it was trending that way towards the end of the non-conference season. He was playing really good basketball.
Yeah.
What's really impressive is that he's a really good mix of an old school big now with a modern big. Can step out, extend the floor, shoot the three, but he's also not afraid to get down low, finish through contact, and as Dave mentioned, and a big reason why he's in the starting lineup, he rebounds really well.
Yep.
I think he's been really impressive, kind of mixing those two styles. I've always, maybe it's the old school thinking in me when it comes to basketball. I always thought if you're 6'9", 6'10", just go down to the post and post up and try to get your points down there. But if you have that 3-point shooting ability, go out a little bit. Not a lot of big men are going to follow you around the perimeter, and he's knocking them down.
Man,
so he's been impressive.
And that one right here, this is the dagger one.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jackson cut it to 5. He hits that, and man, place went nuts after that.
There was a
basket went in.
stretch there with about 5, maybe 6 minutes left where he knocked down a couple that were like, those are big time threes. And we've heard Dave mention it, you mention it. I asked him about it, just the word confidence going forward. And you can see his confidence because at the start of the season, okay, maybe he was shooting 1 or 2 threes a game, somewhere down there. And then as the year went on, what did he have, 6 last night?
Made 4,
he made 4, and you can see him shooting more threes and making more threes. I think that's the example of his confidence growing.
That was a fun game last night.
It was.
It was everything
really
you
good.
want. I mean, the Bison got out early. The Jackson answer, they take the lead. Then the Bison go on a 13-0 run. I mean, like you mentioned to Dave at halftime, it was a game of runs. And then Bison get up again by 14 in the second half. Think, maybe they'll pull away. And then SDSU reeled them right back in and got it to 5.
Give credit to SDSU in the second half. I think after NDSU came out of the break and was knocking down threes from everywhere, SDSU and what Coach Peterson told me was that he wanted to see more connectiveness with his team when things weren't going right. I think they showed that in the second half, brought it back within a manageable margin, but just couldn't get over that hump because of that stretch that we talked about with Trayson knocking down threes. I think Tay Smith had a 3 in that stretch as well.
Stefanowicz did too.
Yep, and those were the daggers. But that's what you were expecting from an SDSU NDSU basketball game. Throw the records out the window, the standings of the Summit League. That was really fun. That was a cool game.
Now, the intriguing part to me, obviously, the Bison and UND both have to go to Brookings later on in February, and that will be difficult there. But to defend home court the way they did, they're 5-0. I'm talking about the Bison now, and the Biggie coming up on Saturday. They've got this is a good basketball team. We haven't even talked about Travion Carson yet, or Damari Wheeler-Thomas for how solid this team is, in my opinion.
Damari was kind of the emotional leader, if you will, yesterday. You could tell that
Especially
game meant a little bit more to him.
With Gary there.
Yeah, he had a couple that luckily it broke up just in time, but you could tell that game meant a lot to him. And Travion, if you look at a box score, he'll probably fall out of people's memory just based on the performances from Anderson and Strickland yesterday, but he made some winning plays yesterday. But he's done that every single game. And there was one point during one of the timeouts that I think Dave turned to his team and said, I asked Travion to be a leader, and he's doing that. And I think that's been the case throughout the season. He's become a leader here.
His stats are great. I mean, you look at it, every single game he's got double digits in points. He's near double digits in rebounds. He'll have at least a handful of steals when the Bison had 10 last night and a handful of assists.
He leads the team in rebounds and steals, right? There's not many Bison players who have done that in a season. He's been really impressive. And to think, I know we've said it a ton, that he has never played a Division I basketball game leading up up to this point. I imagine that was the best crowd he's played in front of in his college basketball career. He handled it really well.
So 3,313, 3,313. That was the attendance number.
What's the capacity?
Night. Oh, the Shack is about 56, I want to
right?
say.
Okay.
So
it is big.
I mean, we can get there.
It's a nice facility. Yep.
UND, we had it there 2 years ago, which was fantastic for the Fighting Hawks game, and that was in February for that. I mean, who knows? That's the last game of the regular season this time around, and maybe it's a double dip. You've covered enough now. You've done it for a year and a half of going to Bison basketball games. What you interact with fans, what do they tell you for either we don't come all the time or we love coming to Bison basketball?
You know, I guess I haven't really had that conversation too much. Obviously, the level of play is not the issue because the level of play is up there. I would imagine maybe some of it is, economic times have changed since the BSA, but granted, ticket prices aren't that crazy. Concession prices, I can't remember the last time I went up to the concession stands and saw the price. I know Dippin' Dots are $8. That threw me for a loop. I don't think that's deterring many people away, but that didn't sit well with me. I will say
that rocked you there.
I was like, wow. Gotcha. All right, I got to go to the ATM now. So I don't know if that's the case. I was also thinking, okay, if they play on a Thursday, there's a lot of high school games going on. And I can tell you firsthand, high school games are getting pretty full these days.
Yep.
The gyms are packing well.
Yep.
There may be more connections to the players. If I know you got the message saying there's no North Dakota players, maybe people are going to the high school games now to see that.
Yeah.
That could be a case. I think it's a tale of two things. I understand people that have been working all day and maybe just want to go home. Students, I think, that is one.
There ain't nothing there.
There's
no legs
excuse
to stand,
there.
No legs to stand.
There's no
on
excuse.
That one. Nope.
Yesterday was great. 400 some, however many it was. They gave out those 400 jerseys. What they did, handing out the jerseys yesterday, 2 thumbs up. That was a smart move for that kind of game. It shouldn't take a promotion like that to give away something super cool every single game to get those students there. Because those students make a difference. That was the type of college environment that these players want to play in front of, and those students were a big reason.
I think both teams fed off of it as well as the game progressed. I thought each of them embraced it. Two things. They've been playing games on Thursdays forever, even when in the old days when they're playing the BSA. So that, to me, stuff's going to happen every night.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. If you want to play Wednesday, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do that. And I've appealed to the league. I'm like, that might be a better day to go about it.
I think so. I mean, it looked like it worked out all right, and it's a calm day high school-wise.
In the old days, here we go, back in my day, when the Bison first got into the league in the Summit, they played the men played Thursday, everybody played Saturday, and then the women played Monday. And nobody liked that.
Yeah.
I don't think that was great. I'm on board with a Wednesday, maybe Thursday, Saturday kind of deal.
Yeah, no, I think that would be the best bet.
That would be better. Now, just keep it here locally on what's going on. To me, the seating thing I've heard since the building opened. Now the building is 10 years old since it was reopened as the Shield Center. I think there are some seats that are tight for people. Yes,
yeah.
I would totally.
I have
totally
not gone up
that.
and watched a game in that lower bowl section, if you will, in the seats. So I guess I don't really know.
I think for a person that's 6'3" or taller, I think that's a tough squeeze. There.
I could imagine that. It doesn't look like there's a ton of leg room, if you will, or
yes.
the width is that close. I guess I haven't watched a game from there, so I don't really know if I can speak to that well. But it does look like there's quite a few open spots, better spacing up top, if that's a better option.
Yeah. I had email comes in here about a 7 p.m. start is a little too late, 6 or maybe 6:30, maybe.
I understand 6. I don't know what a half-hour difference makes between 6:30 and 7.
None of the above. We go to a few games, but seats are uncomfortable and parking stinks. We watch Bison games on TV or streaming.
Parking is tough. I will say that, especially in a game like yesterday. You got to park quite the distance away. It's pretty cold.
Or get there early.
Yeah, you can get there early and hang out in the lobby, I guess.
Well, how many are parking at the Fargo Dome?
It looked like there was a decent number yesterday.
Not that far?
No.
I don't know.
It looked like there was a decent number. It wasn't like packed to the brim by any means. I saw a lot parking towards Newman and making the walk over.
See, I wouldn't do that. I park at personally, I
It
know
would
my
make
wife
more
and
sense.
son went to the women's game last week. They park at the Dome and then walk across the street. I don't know.
It would make more sense. I always park in front of the indoor football facility if I can find a spot there, and then walk my way in. But yeah, I saw a lot of people coming towards
that's
from
too
Newman.
far away there.
Yeah.
So another email, do you go to football games? Because those seats are worse and the parking is the same. And that's exactly right.
Yeah.
The Fargo Dome seats are 35 years old.
Yeah, those ones need
ones
an
do
upgrade.
stink.
Those ones
Yes.
those ones I can attest to.
They
those
are
are
getting
tough.
new seats, according to the forum story that came out last week. They're going to finally upgrade some. But I would totally agree with that.
Are we getting to the point here with basketball where we talk about the competition that's coming in, and it's similar to football? Like Omaha's not going to draw a big crowd or something like that?
I always will push back on this. That when Kansas City would come, when Fort Wayne would be here, IUPUI, that place
full.
would be packed.
Yeah. Then it's an
And they were
interesting.
winning.
Yeah.
And this team is 15-5.
winning.
They're good.
Yep. And the women are on a long win streak
I
as
tell you,
well.
I hope I'm wrong on this. I don't know if we get to 2,000 on Saturday. I hope I'm dead wrong on that, but I don't know if there are going to be 2,000 people.
I
there
agree. I
Saturday.
could see probably 1,800. I think
Which is not bad crowd.
Right. The average probably you're looking at is 15
St. Thomas
to
just
17.
doesn't carry the cachet or the swagger of what South Dakota State does with people.
They're building something at St.
Yeah,
Thomas, but they
they're
don't
good.
have the local fan base yet.
I don't think so.
Especially being a private school,
Yep.
that doesn't help their cause down in the Twin Cities region.
I can scream to the top of my lungs, hey, they're really good, and they are.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they
yeah.
could very well win convincingly tonight in Grand Forks.
Yep.
I mean, and they could come here and be both unbeaten, top
Right.
of the league for first place, and I don't know what it'll be.
Yeah.
And the women's a whole other deal. I just, that part to me, they were bad for so long
And now
that
they're
people just
turning-
got apathetic to it. And that's the worst spot you can be as a team, when people do not care about your
Right.
program. Jory Collins has got it to a point now where, okay, they are good.
Yes.
That I think finally it's starting to get people to come. It's the ones that have decided not to pay attention. That's the ones they got to get back. And I don't know how you do
agree.
that.
I agree. Maybe that's just trying to find a way to get them in the door once, and then hopefully they stick
Stay,
around. Yeah,
right?
exactly. I will say it looks like there has been progress on that front on the women's side. It looks like there's starting to get more and more people
And you know
each
how
game goes
you know
by.
how you get them? You beat South Dakota State.
Exactly. Yep.
You do that.
Exactly.
Then people say, right,
show that
me.
you're there. Yep.
You know,
I think
it's
that
one
could
thing
be
to say, well, Izzo and Goetzinger are talking, hey, they're good.
Yeah.
Okay, but they haven't beat the Jacks yet.
right.
And that's a fair point. I can't argue that.
Right. Here's my bold prediction. I mean, this streak's going to come to an end at some point for South Dakota State. I think NDSU is going to be the team to do it. When?
Wow.
When? I don't know when. I don't know if it'll be this weekend or some point down the road, but at some point, I think NDSU is going to get them.
All right, I think we solved things there.
You think so? I hope so.
Absolutely. Let's break.
I guess we'll know by Saturday.
We'll talk a couple other things. Sam's got, you got a game tomorrow night, right?
Tomorrow.
BBC
I don't have one
game?
tonight, do we?
No, you got the night off.
Nice. All right.
A Thursday off
What
for
am I gonna
Sam.
do tonight?
That's the big question. We'll ask that when we come back on a Thursday morning edition of Hot Mike right after this. Welcome back, everybody. All right, we are. I must have ripped the Band-Aid off here, Sam. We're getting messages.
Are we
from
getting
everybody.
blown up here?
Good friend Brad Anderson texted me, the Forest play at 6 o'clock on Saturdays, and it's been successful. Different crowd, but it works both for families and the younger crowd. I was talking about having
Saturday
a
night games.
couple conference games, I think, would not be the end of the world at 7 o'clock at night. Or even
Yeah.
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
You want to do that.
No, I agree because, I mean, for the younger crowd, I guess, that game would wrap up in time to do whatever else you want to do on a Saturday.
And everybody has stuff going on at noon or
Yeah.
11 a.m. or 1 o'clock. There are games that are happening, right?
Yeah.
That would be the harm of playing one or two.
Mm-hmm.
And I think NDSU did a survey of fans, and I think they got feedback that they want to play. The feedback they got, I don't know how long ago the survey they did, they liked the Saturday games at 1 o'clock.
Do they? Okay.
I think
Yeah,
Jack's Bison at 7. And the teams, I'm sure, would like to get back.
I would agree.
Oral Roberts
I think
doesn't
that's
want any part of playing a Saturday night game. They want to get back to Tulsa.
That's a big point of it. And I do kind of like the 1 o'clock on a Saturday because you do get.
I like having the rest of my Saturday free. Absolutely.
You get a majority of your Saturday free, but I guess we're in a different boat than fans. Can you run that suggestion up the flagpole of Saturday night games?
I will definitely ask.
You're going to see what happens
The
there?
boss is going to be here next week. Matt Larson will be in studio actually a week from today. We're going to hit on a variety of stuff. So
all right.
we'll discuss that.
And I'm supposed to follow that with Matt next week?
Good luck with that.
I'll start preparing.
Dom, a 7 o'clock start time is just fine. Game was over by 9. Plenty of time to get home and relax or tidy the house. By the way, what does Sam use his notepad for while doing the sideline reporting? Ask him if I could stop by on Saturday to play a game of tic-tac-toe.
By all means, come and join me and take a seat. I got a couple open chairs next to me. The notepad I'm still trying to work on. So I'll go to the timeout, and it's loud, and I'm hard of hearing as it is. So I try to lip read what's going on, and I do the no look writing down on my notepad, which I'm not good at, and my notes tend to jumble together sometimes. But that's what it's there for. Most of the time, I forget I have a notepad, so I have to bring like a loose leaf sheet of paper over. I should invest in a clipboard. I don't have a clipboard, but I think that would be a pretty well worth investment there. But if you want to come on over and take a look at my notes, well, you can read my chicken scratch by all means.
Let's see. We got a couple more here. Dom, did you like your head hanging in the shack last night? Did that happen?
What does that mean?
Somebody hang me in effigy last night? I mean, it would be the first time that's happened.
Did one of the students have the big fat head up or something?
If we missed that, if we didn't get that on camera, that is a massive missed opportunity there.
I guess I didn't really turn around and look,
I
but
didn't either. That'd be fantastic.
That would be pretty cool. That would distract me from a free throw. I'll say that. I'll go 0 for at the line if I saw your head bouncing
around.
Bad
enough that people know I'm too loud if they had my face up there. Holy cow. All right, we got a day left before the portal closes.
Oh, we're down to that point, huh?
It looks like what NDSU lost is what they're going to lose there.
So
what do you make of that?
When I said we were in the clear last week, I was semi-correct.
Semi-correct. There you go. You can spike the football on that.
I guess still no official words to the public on some guys. Is that right?
I guess we're going to have to assume that.
We just assume they did it behind closed doors.
Correct. And if they show up for winter workouts,
that's two thumbs up.
Then they're there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I
can tell you this: Nathan Hayes and Trey Drake are going to be on the team. I spoke to them last night before.
Oh, you did. Okay, so we're good there. I saw
Elijah
the Tosteds were there.
Yep.
I saw Griffin Empey was there.
Yep. That's a big one. Yep. That's good news.
I think I saw Toby's brother walking around as well, walking with some other offensive linemen.
Hayes told me last night that they officially got going, I believe, on Tuesday with their first of their workouts.
So can we officially say that Staling changing his Twitter profile picture,
I think that's
X
a good
profile
sign.
picture, that was the one? Yep. So we got to be looking out for changes in profile pictures. Is that correct?
Honestly, if you were to describe your job to somebody that's not in this, of what they would what?
Well, especially during
this is what you do.
Yeah, just
scroll
through X.
I'm
and
literally
look for...
following 22-year-olds Instagram and Twitter accounts to see what their future is. Honestly,
to
really,
see what their future is a good line.
Right?
Is a good line. I that's the best way to describe it.
This is
You're looking for little Easter eggs.
Right.
It's like watching your favorite TV show.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I know.
I have to discern. Well, how did he phrase that?
Right.
Or because it's always the first part, through thoughtful prayer and consideration, and then you got to scroll out to the bottom. Yep. I've decided to stay.
You could get caught by the Klee yacht tweet, like Drew and I did. And he's gone.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's pulling
reversal.
a trick on everybody. Yeah. You can really toy social media with this, and it's fun.
It is what it is. I will say, and I mentioned this in the first hour, for the teams that lost what they did, and USD lost some heavy hitters again. Yep. UND did.
Yep.
The Bison certainly did. Illinois State lost a couple guys. Montana State did.
Nature of the program.
I think
Illinois State, you throw in there.
I think what we've seen out of those teams is their ability to rebuild, reload. I would trust that, and
I agree.
I think they'll be okay. Yeah, it will hurt, sure. I would trust in the guys that they were bringing in that they're going to be okay for all those programs.
Right.
I believe that.
No doubt. I'll speak to the Bison side of it, bringing back over 80-plus guys that were really good in their freshman year, whether it be in practice or in the weight room.
I think it's more the guys that graduated than it is the guys that left in the portal, that'd be more.
You think so?
That's going to hurt more.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that. I think the youth movement coming up, I can speak for the NDSU stuff. I think it's coming up. It's really talented. I see no issues for the future. Developmental program, which you got to be at this level.
How many road NFL teams win this weekend? You have 4 games.
Not many, I don't think.
Bills, Broncos.
See, that was a toss. That was a toss up to me.
Yep.
That would be one where I would give to the Bills, but I kind of like the Broncos.
49ers are the road team at Seattle.
I think that game produces Super Bowl winner, maybe.
Wow,
yeah, but
okay.
I'll go Seahawks.
Rams are the road team in Chicago.
Yeah, I kind of like Chicago.
Okay.
I like Chicago.
And then it's Texans at Patriots is on WDAY on
I'm
Sunday.
not high on the Texans.
Okay.
I'm
Texas
not.
defense is legit.
They are, but offensively, I don't know.
right.
It helped that they ran into the retiring Pittsburgh Steelers last week.
I wonder how much Tomlin would have appreciated if Tyler Loop made the field goal.
Yeah.
Then he could have just, not had to sit out there in 10 degrees and see his team
rode off into the sunset that way.
Baltimore go. How much that would have changed everything?
I think it
John
would've.
Harbaugh's still the coach of the Ravens and not the coach of the Giants.
Their
now.
owner came out and said no. Harbaugh would have been gone either way. Did you see that?
Wild.
Did you see that?
I saw a bit of Bisciotti's press conference, which was wild.
Yeah, he came out.
Wow.
And if Loop made that field goal, he would have been around for an extra week.
That's insane.
That's what he said, which was pretty crazy.
That is wild. You got a game tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night.
What do you got tomorrow?
Oh, what do I got tomorrow? Davies and Horace. I think it's in Horace.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. So that'd be a good EDC matchup.
Boys or girls?
Girls.
Okay.
I'm on the girls' side. Riley's doing the boys' side.
The Horace girls decimated Shanley the other night. When Shanley's not a bad team.
No, they're not.
But these are the top two in the
These are the
EDC.
top two. Davies is up there as well. It's going to be a really good basketball game. I think we could see a potential sneak peek into the future.
Okay.
So we'll see. Once we get to playoff time, I think these two teams meet again.
Enjoy your Thursday night off.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. So
you can play tic-tac-toe if you want, apparently.
Yeah, if they want to email me their answers, I'll submit mine back. That'll work.
Great stuff, bud. We'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah,
all right?
We'll see you later.
Sam Goetzinger joins us each and every Thursday at 10 o'clock. We'll break. We come back. We'll chat some Bison women's basketball. North Dakota State gets ready for South Dakota State. Jory Collins will join us when Hot Mike returns on this Thursday morning. We're back after this. Welcome back, everybody. Final half hour here on this Thursday morning. Pack show coming up tomorrow. I'll give you all the details on that before we wrap up here today. It is Thursday at 10:30, which means we visit with North Dakota State women's basketball coach Jory Collins. North Dakota State with the mini bye this week. The Bison will play Saturday afternoon in Brookings, South Dakota against South Dakota State. The top two teams in the Summit League are set to go at it. It's great to see you, bud. I asked you this after the game on Saturday in Omaha to have the full basically 5-6 days to prepare. Are you anxious to play now, or hey, we'll take every day we can to get ready for the matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I think that sounds good in theory, Don, but we're playing well. I'd just as soon get out there as fast as we can and keep competing. It's always good for the girls to have maybe an extra day. I mean, I think they got one extra day off this week. We still practiced Monday, Tuesday. We'll practice today, tomorrow. We lifted yesterday. So they're still doing stuff, but you kind of want to get out there and keep going.
Yeah, the role you're on, I guess, akin to like baseball. Hey, go out, play every day. Let's keep it rolling. How do you keep that momentum going when you have a couple extra days off?
Yeah, I mean, I think just how you practice. We try to keep it competitive in certain areas. Obviously, this time of year, you kind of monitor, how aggressive you are with each other and those kind of things. And we're all about the minimal effective dose. Whatever we can do to stay sharp and stay ready, that's what we want to do. This isn't going to be a hard game, obviously, for our players to get up for, and they're all about the preparation. So I think because of who we're playing off of a little mini bye, I think the attentiveness is definitely there.
I want to just look back real quick here. For the teams that you have beaten, you have handled them decisively. Is that a sign of a mature team of what you've done the last 3 games?
Well, I think so. There's been plenty of times in the last 6.5 years, Dom, where, we feel like, hey, we're the better team. We don't play like the better team for the entire 40 minutes. There's times where we haven't been the better team and haven't competed as well as you want. Yeah. And, the big thing as you get a mature team is whoever you decide who you want to be, are you holding your team accountable to that? Are you playing up to your standards in what we're capable of doing, regardless of the name on the other jersey or what they do or who they are? What are our standards? And this team has done a good job, regardless of on the road, at home, neutral sites, I think, of going out and playing to our identity as much as they can.
To have Avery, we could do this every week. I think we probably have the kind of year she's having. She was Player of the Week again earlier this week. Just now, when you're looking at what are you challenging her now on a day-to-day in practice about what you want to see out of her?
Yeah, I don't know too much if I'm challenging her. We talk a lot about keeping your sword sharp. What are you doing to when you're playing at that level and you're playing such a high level, you're on an edge. Of preparation, of being locked in mentally. You don't have those kind of games if you're not focused and really dialed into situations and, taking some steps back when we do have a day off and relieving your mental acuity there and relaxing a little bit and then coming back the next day. So I think, and that's all part of maturity, how you handle the weekly expectations and performance part of it. I would tell you this again, she's just such a grounded young lady on and off the court that as good as she is as a basketball player, I don't believe at all that that's her complete identity. Yeah. I think that allows her to play pretty loose, Dom, for the most part, and just go out and be herself most of the time.
Watching Molly Lenz did what she did on Saturday, and she was smiling about this in the post game about being at the two-guard spot. Describe that shooting performance, and that's the kind of what she can be in her natural position, correct?
Yeah, no question. And I don't know. I don't know if she played more two the other day or not, or three. To me, those are two the same thing.
Yeah.
In what we do. That was a game where, man, you look at that game, Dom, Avery, at least as far as finishing, didn't have her best finishing game. I think AK only took 2 shots. I think Jossie didn't finish great that game. That was 3 starters that maybe went 4 or 5 for 20. We still was able to score 90 because Molly had a great game. AG came in and had a great game. Carrington had a great game. But Molly was, in good spots, was shot ready. I thought the first couple plays of the game, she hunted those pull-up jumpers off ball screens. People were going under, which that's her bread and butter. You get a couple of those to go down, now you're playing with confidence all day.
I mentioned what you said in the post game about that she would prefer to take a mid-range jumper than a layup. Can you expound on that a little bit more?
Well, she's just more efficient.
Yeah.
It's not like Molly's extremely strong. It's not like she's a big leaper or a big athlete, in her feel and, ability to finish outside her body just isn't as good as her ability to stop and pop. It's like Papa shot, when she gets in rhythm in her 1-2 step pull-up jumper. It's pretty automatic. And we encourage our players to get to their best stuff, as much as you can.
She was fantastic in the game on Saturday. All right, let's chat about the opponent here. You've had a chance to look at them. Where does South Dakota State look to you, and we know Brooklyn Meyer's back. Obviously, Maddie Mathewitz is there. Vasika's really good. What stands out when you watch this year's version of the Jackrabbits?
Yeah, I don't know that it's anything different, Dom. They're built around Brooklyn, and she's just such a force on the offensive end and even the defensive end, really. She's playing great defense this year, too. But the way that they all run their system and actions around him, they're just a well-oiled machine. If you guard them this way, they know they're looking here, and they're going to try to attack you that way. If you guard them this way, in double, they're going to know they're going to if you front them, they're going to flash and high-low you and skip it for threes. And they just execute who they are as people and players so well and don't make a ton of mistakes. They're a little more youthful on the perimeter this year with younger players taking on a bigger role of facilitating and organizing and some of those things. But, Maddie Mathewitz is still a dynamic player in this league. Vaseka's a super great talent at her size and length. And then, Brooklyn is who she is. Been the best player, or one of the best players in this league for multiple years. And they have great depth, too. Now, maybe not to be as experienced depth, but it's talented. And they're only going to get better as those kids get more experience, too.
Let me ask you this. Without Paige Meyer, though, how different? I mean, because I thought that game last year down there, you're tied. She makes 2 or 3 plays, and bam, the game is over. Just without her, how different are they?
Well, a little bit. Paige was such a physical downhill driver.
Yes. Yep.
Fox is shooting the lights out right now, and just an unbelievable shooter. That's where she's probably better than Paige, is just being able to catch and shoot at a really high level. The Abdush girl is a really great athlete. Maybe doesn't have the physicality that Paige had. I mean, I just thought Paige was such a bully whenever she needed to be on both ends of the floor. Yep. Would get a big steal in a big moment. She was a winner that made winning plays. And not to say those kids are not going to be that, but, Paige was a 4-year playmaker. And so that is a little bit different. But they've had other kids step up.
Yeah.
You can throw it into Brooklyn Meyer over and over again. That's a pretty good way to go about it.
Your experienced team of going back into this environment, how much can you bank on past years to help out? It's a new game, new team you're going to have on Saturday, but they've been down there before. Is that something you can tap into, or it's a complete reset for Saturday?
Our team's talked about it. We're excited. I mean, we know it's going to be a sellout. We know it's going to be a hostile environment. I think our players are embracing that. I mean, that's why you compete. I mean, what a fun game to get to play in. Our team is really connected, Dom. We've been really good on the road because of that. Whether we win or lose on Saturday, it's going to have nothing to do with our connectedness. I know that. We're just going to have to make more basketball plays, but we'll be ready. We'll be dialed in. I don't think the environment's going to be too much for anybody on our team. We're just looking forward to having a lot of fun with it.
How much has Jossie Schiller's mentality changed that as well? Her tenaciousness, I think I asked you about this last week, so I apologize for a repeat, but just that she just doesn't get rattled. That's a different aspect of your team I don't think you've had, frankly.
Yeah, no question. She is a ultimate competitor. And she's somebody that thrives in those kind of games and in those kind of environments. And everybody has that have really good teams have those kind of players that I don't want to say rise to the occasion because she's done that every single game, but where you don't get thrown off your game much by what's going on around you. And you're able to stay dialed in and be the competitor and playmaker that you are. And I think we have multiple people on our team, but she obviously adds something with the ball in her hands a lot, and then guarding the other team's ball handlers that's really helped our team in general.
You expect to be hoarse after the game Saturday? You know how loud it is in there?
Probably. I guess. Hopefully I just get to sit down and let our team just do their thing, Tom. That'd be great. I wouldn't bet on that, but it'd be awesome.
I got to ask you, out of the Division I meeting of the NCAA convention, sounds like it's going to happen. The portal windows are going to move till after the championship games in early to mid-April. What do you make of that? Does that change anything in your mind about moving them now a few weeks later?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's probably a good idea. I've never been a fan of people while they're still playing trying to maneuver and make moves and posturing and all that stuff while you're still playing. I would prefer for those kind of teams that are playing deep there for it to be over with. Just because the window opens on a certain day doesn't mean you're not already going to know, if your season's over before. So I think it's probably a good thing overall.
Tonight's a pretty good night. I don't know if you got practice and all, but we got, I think, 3 ranked games tonight. Louisville, Notre Dame, Texas, South Carolina is awfully good, 4 versus 2. Illinois, Michigan, Nebraska, Michigan State. Are you flipping the dial tonight? What are you locked in on tonight?
Well, I'm going to be watching South Dakota State and Denver. That's what I'm going to be watching. So I will scroll through and check those scores out, maybe catch some replay highlights. But I'll be watching that other team.
Always the coach. There's no doubt about it. Thanks for the time as always, bud. Good luck on Saturday. Safe travels, and we'll see you later today at practice, okay?
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Jory Collins joins us each and every Thursday at 10:30. Give us the lowdown on Bison women's basketball. Again, it's the game, and I think we've said it enough here. I think people understand it, that I think there's a level of excitement around Bison women's basketball. I think they can tap into a whole other level if they're able to win this game Saturday. I do. Because then you'll have won against the Jacks, period, first time since 2015. So I don't have to repeat that stat over and over like I've done for a decade. Second, you'll have won on the road there. That'll get people's attention. And third, then you could say they're a real contender to win this thing. Those are all three byproducts if you're able to win this game. Now, if you don't win, well, you're going to hear that stat come back up again when they play here in February. And people just shrug their shoulders like, yeah, all right, well, they're just not there yet. I think Mike hit that on Tuesday and we talked about it, and he's exactly right. Until they beat them, you got to show it to me. I think there's a lot of people in a holding pattern on that. If they do it, or when they do it, then they're ready to really get excited. Until then, I don't think they're ready to take the plunge. And that's fair. I cannot dispute that. Let's take our final break. We come back. We'll wrap things up. As I mentioned to Jory, we got a great Sports Thursday on tap. We'll get you ready for that when Hot Mike wraps on WDAY Extra after these messages. All right, wrapping things up here on a Thursday morning. Appreciate all the interaction. We had some good stuff today. Tomorrow, packed show. Johnny Tower is going to lead us off. St. Thomas men's basketball head coach. Tommy's in UND tonight. He'll start our show tomorrow and get ready for St. Thomas's matchup with North Dakota State coming up on Saturday. That's part of a busy Friday show. Dad will be on tomorrow to deliver his stone-cold picks to see who's moving on. Obviously, we'll chat about his beloved team as well, making a change with Mike Tomlin stepping down as head coach of the Steelers, and who the next coach of Pittsburgh is going to be. So that'll be on the program tomorrow. Looking forward to that. All right, let's do our poll question because we still have a bunch of responses I want to get to. This is our poll question earlier today, reflecting on last night's Bison men's basketball game against South Dakota State, as in why do you not go to Bison basketball games? We had 3,300 in attendance last night, and that's not into the 3,300 that were there last night. You guys were loud. It was fantastic. All right, what do we got? The 69% say not interested, which is fine. Not quite sure why you're watching our show then or voting, but appreciate that. Now, the responses we got are pretty darn good, and I want to read a few of them here. Dom, it's the same issues at UND games. I wouldn't say they're expensive, but the main issue I'd say are weeknight games are hard for families. They usually play on Thursday nights. I always have something going on. Otherwise, we'll go a lot more than I do. Would love to go to more games. I live in Grand Forks, willing to drive down. And the times they play games, especially with the young family, makes it difficult. So it's somewhat of a scheduling issue for me. I have 4 grandkids in high school, college sports, sometimes 4 nights a week. If I wasn't watching them, I would be there. So many are on Wednesday night, which is church night. I believe that was their 3rd separate Wednesday night game they had this year. It goes, I was there, enjoyed it. Go to school 2 hours away, so couldn't go. Most of them are saying they're a little bit further away. So it's a variety. Again, there's no silver bullet here that's going to point to one exact reason on it. I think it's good to get feedback on it. Personally, I think there's a couple things. Saturday night game, I think they should entertain that again. But that's a broader Summit League deal too, which I've hammered on that, and I know people probably roll their eyes to the back of their head when I start talking about scheduling, but and I'll point right to the game we were just talking about with Jory. Like, the Bison women are playing at 2 o'clock Saturday, and it goes right up against the Bison men's game. And invariably, people are going to watch the men, and that's totally unfair to the women. It's 2026. We have to stop pitting men's and women's games against one another because we already know where the audience is going to go to. Whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, you got to fix that. Mirror scheduling stinks to high heaven. Get rid of it because it's not fair, not in 2026. I appreciate all the feedback today, guys. It was great. All right, let's do some What to Watch before we get out of here. What to Watch brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. Okay, we've got hoops tonight. Wahpeton and Kindred. Boys, girls basketball doubleheader tonight here on Extra. Coverage begins at 6 o'clock, followed by at 7:30. A little double dip of Class A basketball. That Kindred team is legit, folks, on the boys' side. Reigning state champs. Check that out tonight at 6 and at 7:30. Also, the Wild are back in action. We'll see if they can get a win streak going finally to take on Winnipeg. 7 o'clock on FanDuel Sports North for that one. Big women's game. Texas, South Carolina. 6 o'clock on ESPN2. And the Thunder and the Rockets set to go at it in the NBA's Western Conference, 6:30 on Amazon Prime. Our thanks to Hunter Pinke, to Sam Goetzinger, and to Jory Collins. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay of our show on WDAY+. Thanks so much for joining us on this Thursday, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.